Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. It is Tuesday at 5 p.m. And I tell you, we're going to have a very fun filled show today. My guest is in the green room. She's waiting to get out here and chop it up with the rest of y'all. So I'm so excited that I was able to get her to come on the show. She's got a lot to talk to us about today. So I'm so looking forward to it. So let's get these announcements out the way. The first thing I like to do every time I go live is I have to give a shout out to my mentor, Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt has been with me 30 plus years. I tell you, he has been a blessing to me and my family. If you've got a mentor that's been in your life a long period of time, you need to marvel over that. Because 30 years is a long time. And then having somebody that's praying for you, looking out for you, leading and guiding you in the right direction is invaluable. If you don't have a mentor, get one. Somebody that you can count on that'll be there with you in a time of need. So get you a mentor because I tell you, boy, it's a beautiful thing. All right, so let's move right along here. I want to invite everybody to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, please browse and check out all of my advertisers. I have a few of them listed here. RRJ Webb, Sir Synergy, Port Again Sam, and Prince Hunter Financial Group. Now, if you're looking for somebody to help you do maintenance, build a website, RRJ Webb is the person that can help you out. You know, you can reach out to him and he can evaluate how bad your system really is and tell you what to do to fix it. Sir Synergy, if you are interested in understanding all of this money that's flowing into the green energy field with solar panels and how to help save you money with green energy, Sir Synergy is the place you want to talk to. They can help you understand what's going on and help you set up solar panels for your home and business. Port Again Sam. Port Again Sam has been with me for 15 years plus. And I tell you, he brings in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. I tell you, once you start shopping with Sam, you will never want to go back to a regular retail outlet ever again. Whether it's cognac, whether it's wine, sweet or dry, semi sweet, he's got it. And he will help you find your favorite and he will make sure that you get enough of it as long as it's in stock because he runs out a lot fast. And last but not least, Prince Hunter Financial Group. If you're interested in learning about the stock market, the forex market, trading, he is offering 4 free classes. You can reach out to them, say, hey, look, I want my 4 free classes. And I tell you, you will be enlightened greatly to the knowledge that you can get from Prince Hunter Financial Group. So any of these banners or any of the flyers that are on the website, you can click on any of them. It'll take you directly to their website and you'll be able to reach out to them directly and find out what you need to know about them. So, like I said at the top of the show, my friend is back with me today. She has released a new book, and I tell you, she's no stranger to the show. She's been on the show many times before. And when I asked her, would she find time to come back, boy, she went 2 days without sleep and said, yes, I'll do it. So, welcome back to the show, Miss Jaime A. Gill.
Hello, 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 Dr. Ron. It's always a pleasure to see and talk to you, my friend. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm blessed. I'm
Amen.
blessed. That's all I can say. Every day above ground is a good day.
That's true.
And, you know, and
Because we
I'm
don't have
so,
anything to compare it to.
huh?
Because we don't have anything to compare it to.
That's exactly right. Because nobody that's in the ground can tell you anything. That's exactly the truth. So how things been going? I know you've been busy. You've been traveling. You've been, writing books, publishing books again.
Again.
You're back to doing your YouTube diaries from the car of and all sorts of things. So what's going on? Tell us what's going on. Bring us up to date.
Wow, I don't know. See, the last time I was on your show, it was for the release of Lessons for the Little Boy. I call it my boy baby. I traveled to Richmond, Virginia. We had an amazing book signing in Richmond, Virginia, where the book is actually featured at a bookstore there. And we had a wine tasting event with four of the authors that host a show called Live at the Man Cave. And so I got to hang out with the guys for 24 hours, and that was so much fun. So much fun. Just to see how people are responding to the book. Um, you you believe in whatever God has placed in your heart to do, but when you actually get to see the response of other people, it is always so very overwhelming to know that God will use little old me to birth such a powerful movement in men's mental health. And so I'm honored. So that was good. For many of your viewers may know I work in the healthcare field, so I've been working a lot there. Uh, too much. Too
Hmm.
much. And I'm actually, Dr. Ron, thinking about going back to school. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to go, but
Hmm.
I always want to be on top of my game. I want to be on top of my skills, and I think that you owe it to your gifts to expand your gifts. So I'm thinking about going back to school at the end of the month just to always make sure that I'm presenting the very best of me to the world through my books, through my social media, through my content creation. I never want to give you mediocre, no parts of me and how I present myself. So that's been
Hmm.
me. And now we're here. My baby girl, number two, Lessons for Little Girl 2, that I'm so very, 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 very proud of. This is what I call my grown girl book. This is the mature one. So she released, look at I should not get so. I literally get excited when I see my book in other people's hands. So it it never gets old. It's literally a never. It's a feeling I could live to experience every day of my life. So
Yeah.
God has been good.
Yeah. So let me ask a question.
Yes,
So
sir.
now, the book about the men,
Hmm.
you're the publisher, or you helped them write it, or what was exactly how that came about? I
What's
know
my
you,
role?
yeah, I know the guys, I know you snuck in town, and shocked the heck out of
I
them,
did.
when you
I
did it.
did.
Because, I stalk you on Facebook, so I kind of saw what was going on.
Yeah.
But so you're the publishing company,
No,
or
no, I have
okay.
the publishing company is 220 Publishing. Founder and CEO is Mr. Glenn Murray. Shout out to my publisher and friend, and
Mm-hmm.
also co-author. Well, when I wrote Lessons for Little Girl 1 back in 2000, and let me see if you can see it, 2000, and probably can't see it because there we go, 2014. I
Mm-hmm.
was at a book signing, and a gentleman came up to me, Mr. Floyd. I'll never ever forget him. Came up to me and said, "Well, if something is in here for women, I know it's something that men can learn from too." And in that moment, I knew I needed to create something for men. Well, I'm a woman, so I really didn't know what that looked like. I didn't even know if I had the quote unquote authority to be able
Mm-hmm.
to create something for men. And so it took 6 years for the vision to fully manifest and for God to pull the right people together. And so this book features 13 men from the ages of 23 to 65. I think is the oldest gentleman, which is my uncle. So I should know his age. Um, and these men share their story. So I start the book off explaining or sharing an experience that I had with my father, how I had this moment where I invited my father in for a moment of honesty, transparency, and vulnerability. And the moment he entered that door or that conversation, I attacked him. What about me? What about me? What about me? And I had an out of body experience in that moment because I saw what damage I was doing to my father. I was
Mm,
inviting him to be honest. I was inviting him to be open, and I attacked him as soon as he came in. And in that moment, like I literally felt my heart breaking for what I was doing to him. And I began to think about how many men experience this from their wives, from their girlfriends, from their mothers, from their daughters, from their colleagues, that men don't have a safe space to truly be honest about who they are, the things that they struggle with, the answers that they don't know, the confusion that they do have. We like to put men on this in this light that they should have it figured out because they are men, and these statements like "man up." Well, for some men, how do you do that? How do we assume that they know how to do that? How do we know that they were taught how to do that? What does that even mean? And so I really wanted to begin to have the conversation to allow men to be honest about their journeys of what it is to be a man. Because oftentimes as women, we have examples based off our experiences with our own family or the men that we have chosen to date. And not to say that those are not true examples, but I wanted to give a holistic view of various men from different backgrounds, different ages, of what it means to be a man for them. And so I created the platform, and I shared as a woman how I responded to my father, which then began to change the scope of my interactions with men, and how I knew I needed to have very healthy relationships with men, starting with my dad. And has literally began to evolve into other areas of my life as a coworker, as a single woman. As I interact with men, I'm able to have a much better interaction with them because of the experiences that I had with my father. So that's what Lessons for Little Boy is. It's honesty. This book is one word of
so
honesty.
is it a Q and A with the men, or they just
Nope.
submitted their
Just
view and opinion?
they submitted their stories. Like there's one story where my publisher and co-author Glenn Murray talks about losing his mother and being a caregiver
Mm-hmm.
to the woman who gave him life, and now having to watch her exit hers, and his experience with that, and how he felt about the loss not only of her but very close friends in his life. And how does a man deal with loss? And so that's his perspective. And I have another gentleman that is in this book, Mr. Fred. In this book, he talks about being a father of all girls, being the ultimate girl dad, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
he is a very accomplished architect, and how he goes out in the world and he tries to create this space where his daughters are safe and provided for, along with his wife. But every day he has this internal conversation, this internal battle, is has he done enough? Because we live in a world where women are being constantly judged still because of their color and the texture of their hair. And has he given them all of the tools? And you have Willow James, who shares his story about being a young man, and everybody telling him that he needs to be stronger and harder, and he's not into sports. Does that make him any less manly? He's into theater, into drama, and things of that nature. And then you have Lionel Hillier, a man who his family is not descendants from America, and they talk about that transition of being a black man by color, but culturally being from somewhere else, and how he was still ostracized even in the black community, and how he had to learn how to make those adjustments, and then becoming a husband himself, and then a father, and how his father was present in the home, but his spirit wasn't present because he was always at work and just not connected. And we don't often think about how those dynamics impact a man, because we think of women as being the emotional ones and needing all of the attention, but no, humanity needs that attention. And so I'm so proud of these men and the stories that they share. And those are just a few. I mean, that's clearly it's way more stories in here that these people share about loss and love and divorce. And so yeah, it's just them sharing their own heart.
So my question would be, you being a woman
Hmm.
who have read these stories and experienced these stories, by knowing them personally,
Hmm.
what would be your takeaway? And how is that going to help you moving forward with interacting with men of all different, emotional roller coaster type situations, and those that don't even know they got emotion. I used to tease Jennifer B. I don't know if you know Jennifer B. or not. She is a, yeah,
She's my sister author. She's with 222. Yes, that's my girl. We're
yeah.
co-authors.
Jennifer and I used to be on the same radio station at one
Uh-huh.
time, Global News Forum.
Hmm.
And she would either come on either before me or after me on the air. So one time I was a guest on her show.
Hmm.
And, Jennifer will analyze you and,
Hmm.
help you
Yes,
get
she
in
will.
touch, with your emotions.
Broken
So,
Pieces. Her book is phenomenal. Doing a show
yeah,
for my girl. Yes, man.
yeah. And I used to tease her. I said, I ain't been in touch with my emotions since the last time I was on your show. So, So I had Jennifer on right before she got married, because she's married
Yeah.
now, and she helped me, then. But I didn't get all my emotions back. I just found a few of them. But but knowing that men have issues and things to say and don't always know how to say them, so how has this helped you understand men more? What's your takeaway of men?
For me, and I don't think that I did this, but I am very, I'm more aware of it now. A lot of times we like to group men together. You have one experience with a man. Let's just use the universal cheating, right? Let's just use that. The signs of cheating, and all of a sudden you want to just group all. See, I knew that's why all men. I was never that woman before, but I'm like
Hmm.
overly aware to make sure that I'm not doing that in any way, whether it's in the dating realm, whether it's in the working realm, or just as friends. I'm very sensitive. I think I listen better since this book has come out. I think that I not only try to listen to what they're audibly saying, but I watch and pay attention to facial expressions. And you and I shared an experience that we will not talk about on this show, where
Okay.
but basically my honesty with the man freaked him out. Like he was just kind of like, you hurt my feelings. And I was like, no, I'm just being honest. And I think that I am becoming just more aware of how the dynamics of that front that men feel like they have to always have, when there's really just like the softer side of them that they're not used to people seeing and acknowledging. So that I've become a better listener and I've become more aware. I'll say that. I'll say it like that. I've become.
So you're not attacking men as much as you used to.
I don't think I used to be very passive with men, just
Okay.
because, believe it or not, I used to have a lot of self-esteem issues, and so I never felt um, powerful enough to kind of challenge a man. Even when I did, it was suggestive, like, "Well, are you? Well, maybe." I was not bold enough to just kind of come with it.
Hmm.
So I was never that girl that would attack men, but I think that I am more. I'm willing to let them know I see you, and
Okay.
and all of that. What that meant. I had a situation I'll share. Recently, a friend of mine, a guy I had met, just getting to know. We're not dating. We're just getting to know each other, and he was supposed to come to town so we could hang out. He lives in another state, and he did not show up twice.
Hmm.
So, you know, the woman in me is like, dude, deuces. Any chance of even being my friend, you can't even be, because you can't follow through with his word. Well, come to find out that some things happened in his life where he was unable to come. And I am the queen of communication. All you have to do is communicate that to me. So,
Hmm.
old Jamie would have been like, don't call me no more. Like, I don't have time. You're wasting my time. I had to stop and say, I'm sorry you went through that. I'm glad you are safe. I'm glad you are home. Like this book has made me pause instead of
Hmm.
responding, with my sad, because, I'm 43 now. So I'm like, look, I don't have time for nobody wasting my time. But I recognize that he has a story too that's still evolving. And so the world
Hmm.
beats him up enough. So I don't need to add to that. and at the end of the day, it takes nothing away from me to show him love and grace at all,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right.
So,
Right. So would you say that most women that would encounter that book would feel have similar type takeaways?
yes, yes,
Okay.
it blows my mind. Even the reviews on Amazon are from women. Like, I am getting so much speedy response from women about this book. Not to say that men are not reading it, but it is just, it's helpful for me to know that it is useful for them as well, as they are trying to navigate their relationships with me and through the world, that this book has given them some tools and resources to be able, and some insight to kind of just be like, okay, let me do this another way. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of
Okay.
that.
Good. Good. Well, I applaud you on that book. And your involvement with it.
You have to get some
You
of the guys
know.
on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. Just give my number. Look,
Okay.
I would love to have them come on the show and talk about their experience with writing.
Hmm.
And coming together with a project such as this. Now, we all know about the first book,
Hmm.
you know. So, you want to set us up by talking about the first book before we get into the second book. So,
Sure.
what was the adventure in the first book that got you into being an author?
So this Lessons for Little Girl One, it's really funny how she even came to life. She came to life for two reasons. I've always been a journaler. Just, if I showed you how many journals I have currently in my bedroom, you would be like, somebody needs to go to a therapist. But I literally have drawers full of notebooks, like just drawers full, because it's always been a place of escape, of healing, of reflection for me. And I was working at a church in Chicago land, and a minister from a different church was there for a women's conference, and she said, I want you to speak at our annual international youth conference. So I have some mentors. You talked about mentors, and I was
Mm-hmm.
telling my one of my mentors about how excited I was about this opportunity, and to speak at an international youth conference was such a big deal. And she says, "What are you going to leave them with?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, what am I going to talk about? I don't know." She's like, "No, what are you going to leave them with?" And she was letting me know that I needed something tangible for them to. I can't just get up there and give this speech or this sermon or whatever. I have to give them a takeaway, literally. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
a t-shirt, pencils, like, I was just like thinking products. But I was like, all of that stuff is cheesy. And I knew that I needed to provide something for them. So I really went home looking for something that I could create to give them at the end of this conference to kind of reflect after. And I was looking through my journal, and I literally was like, wait a minute. Lessons for Little Girl One is literally my journal. I was walking myself through several different experiences in my life, and it was all right there in the book. At the time, I had a radio show, Love Perspective, with my co host Alicia Bowens, and um, Glenn Murray just happened to be a mutual Facebook friend of ours who owned a publishing company. And I was like, let's bring that publisher dude on here. Let's see if he's, I know so many people who want to be authors. I want to be an author, let's bring him on. So as he was on the show and we're talking to him about being a publisher, like, God was speaking to me the whole time, like, tell him about your book, tell him about your book. And I'm like, I don't have no money to get a book published. Like, I'm not there yet. Nobody's going to read it. But I ended up talking to him after the show. What I did not know is that when he asked me to send it to him so he could see it, he sent it out to a bunch of other people.
Mm.
Sneaky, right? They loved it. They thought it was needed more than anything, more than them loving it. They thought it was needed and necessary. And so Lessons for Little Girl One became life. And what really encouraged me to go forth with it was, at the time I was in a situationship with someone that and I realized that this gentleman was also seeing two other women that I am aware
Mm.
of, two other,
Say at least two.
at least two other women, and that he had been seeing, that I found out later, for 6 years,
Wow.
and they knew about each other. But when I entered the picture, that's when the problems arose. Like, no, it was a problem initially when
Right.
you weren't the only one.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
that dynamic, instead of it making me like angry at him and them and all of this, it made me really sad for them
Mm.
because these are beautiful. I mean, we're talking about women with master degrees, professions. Like, we're not just talking about these girls that don't, I mean, their own homes, cars, like money in the bank, like established women. It made me really sad. And I realized that at some point in our life of trying to gain a career, gain a man, gain whatever, a title, that we lose a part of ourselves. And so secretly, and I would never be able to say it to these women in particular, they were the ultimate kind of thing that pushed me over to write this book, because I was sad for them. And I don't mean that in a pathetic way, but just as a fellow woman, like, where do we lose ourselves that we're okay with sharing our man in a space that, like, oh, okay, well, if I know he's not here tonight, he over there. But now that this third girl in the picture, now I don't know where he's. Like, how does that even get to a place of comfort when I know that both of the women wanted this man as their only. It was the mess of that
Mm.
that made Lessons for Little Girl 1. I know it needed to be out. And so it's very soft. Lessons for Little Girl 1 is very soft. It's just talking about creating your own space and recognizing what your dreams are and giving back to your community, like very soft lessons. Like stuff just have you to think about, kind of escape your everyday busyness. But Lessons for Little Girl 2.
Now, lessons for little girl one. So, what would you say would be the ideal demographic to be able to, pick that up and say, "Oh, wow, I got this, and this out of this book."
Um, that's a funny question because me and the marketing team had this same conversation slash argument. Um, the book is literally from target audience, and they laugh at me because it's true. It's from 11 to 111. And
Okay.
the reason that I say that is because for a younger woman, it literally gives you something to begin to think about as you're maturing. Like, what does it mean to create my own space? What does it mean to keep going against the odds? What does it mean to capture the moment, because life passes by so fast? What does that mean? Being present. What does that mean? But for the older woman, it allows her to then reflect back to
Mm.
say, okay, I have been working too much. As I talk to myself, I have been working too much. I do need to slow down. I do need to recognize, what do I want my legacy to be? I do have to recognize that I haven't been spending time with the family this summer, because I'm always picking up shifts, or I'm trying to connect the dots to my life. And are these the dots I really want to connect? What picture is this creating? So it really works hand in hand, that as the younger woman grows, she's learning, and the older woman is able to look back so that way she can go forward. It's the whole Sankofa method,
Mm-hmm.
that we know of in the African American community, how you can look at your past to learn some things so that you can properly move forward. So,
Exactly. Yeah. So, if a guy,
hmm
not me, but some other guy, picked up the book, starting with book one,
hmm
what would he be able to get out of that book?
same lessons. That's what
Same
the,
thing?
the gentleman that told me why I targeted to girls. I don't know. But
Okay.
I just felt like that was the mandate at that moment, because of the situation that I was living through. I mean, because men, like chapter 13, I just opened it up. Money management. Men need to know about that. Very,
Now,
very much so.
now, you ain't talking about just, men that are in touch with their feminine side, are you? You
Oh
talking
no.
about,
I
okay.
mean, Ron, Dr. Ron, you are one of the most dominant masculine men that I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to know about money management, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's true.
or
Yeah,
decision
yeah.
making.
I know not to give it to no woman. How's that,
Whatever your management style is your management style. I'm not gonna
Oh,
say whatever.
look, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail for that statement, but
Whatever your management. But one of my favorite chapters in the book, which I think is really my mantra. I think if I had to take one chapter out of that book, it is every boyfriend doesn't have to be a boyfriend, and it talks about
Mm,
the power in platonic friendships.
okay.
Um, there are so many times, and I know that you and I have several examples about how just because I may be attracted to someone or someone may be attracted to me, that doesn't
Right.
mean we need to run off into the sunset and get married.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
there literally can be a reason for our connection, whether it's to build something together as far as a business, whether it's to help somebody, help each other through a tough time, whether it's just to glean perspective and vantage point of life. Maybe your cousin will be the baker to my business opening. We just don't know. And so
Right.
my sister is actually the theme of that top. My sister was an amazing basketball player in high school, and beautiful girl, very smart. She was always around the guys, and I just didn't understand why she wasn't dating half of them because they was gorgeous. Like where
Mm-hmm.
my siblings are 8, 10, and 15 years older than me. So from an 8-year-old's perspective, they're all amazing. And my sister
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, like just because we get along on the basketball court or just because we get along, that doesn't mean we need to date. And that lesson has literally stayed with me my entire life and has saved me, very honestly, from making some very irresponsible decisions just because I
Mm-hmm.
thought somebody was cute or somebody thought I was
Right.
cute,
Right.
So
Right.
yeah. So that's lessons for little girl one. That's my first baby.
Okay. So now that you've set the stage and we understand number one
Hmm.
a little bit better, so fast forward to number two. You know, this
Lessons
this
for
this little
the
puppy right here.
lessons for
Number
the
two.
And she cute. She's so cute.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
So I know it just came out.
Hmm.
And I gotta tell
Birthday.
everybody, I gotta tell everybody, yeah, I'll just get ready to go there. She had a very unique marketing plan for this book's rollout. Now she had a birthday about a couple of weeks ago,
Hmm.
and on her birthday, she was encouraging everybody to go out and buy this book on Amazon because she was going to catapult it to, number one on the Amazon bestseller book
Hmm.
list. So all she wanted everybody to do was just go out and buy a book. Just go buy a book. Just go buy a book. And, of course, her being my friend the way that I am, I went out and bought a book. I'm obedient. She said buy a book, I'm going to buy a book. It was cheaper than trying to feed her, I promise you. Taking her out on a
Fact.
date and say, it's your birthday, here are the balloons and
Fact.
box of candy and all this
We're
other
not
stuff
gonna
that
eat
costs
salad.
way more money than the book.
Salad
Okay?
is only the starter.
So, I applaud you, on and I'm gonna openly say thank all those that obeyed you,
Yes. Yes. No.
by going out and doing that to help celebrate you for your birthday. And I don't know how well you wound up on that day with Amazon
Mhm.
statistics or, algorithms or whatever, but the book is out.
It's
Okay.
out.
And
It,
it's only
it
like
didn't hit
three.
number one that day, but that doesn't mean we can't hit number one still,
Still, it's
right?
still a work in
It's
progress.
still a work in progress.
And I am grateful that you decided to make your tour, on my show and with other shows to come, because I think you got about 5 or 6 shows lined up over the next couple of weeks,
Hmm.
and you starting it out here, so I'm getting all I can get out of you right now, you know.
You
But
can say they heard it first here.
there you go,
Dr.
there you go.
Ron.
So now everybody gonna be trying to get in on the hoopla,
That's right.
and so now that the book is released,
Hmm.
where do we pick the story up in number two?
So I'll answer that question by saying this. You don't have to have one to appreciate two, but having one allows you to see the maturity of two.
Okay.
Lessons for Little Girl 2 came after my father had passed.
Okay.
I lost my father in 2019, 2 days after I turned 40. And that was a traumatic experience for me. Um, Losing a parent or anyone for that matter is difficult, but losing it right after my birthday, after, a very significant, monumental birthday, right? Um, and I'm not married, no kids. And my father was they say the first man you know, first man you love, but he was also the last man to leave. My grandfathers are gone. My godfather had died 2 months before my dad, and then my dad. And so I went through this major, like, self conflict, questioning. Like, it was rough. Losing my father was very, very difficult, and still is, if I'm honest. I'm handling it better, but part of my healing from the loss of my dad and being in Florida, which I call a foreign country, being from Chicago, land area, it's just a very different space. And because my life in Chicago, where had a radio show and I was working in media and education, to have my life is completely different here. I was very social. I was out and about at networking events, to almost being a hermit here in Florida. Not bad, just different life, completely different life. And so for
Mm-hmm.
me, that was causing a lot of midlife crisis sensations of wondering who I am really. What was all of that life in Chicago about, if this is my life now? It was just a lot of questioning. And so Lessons for the Little Girl 2, the subtitle was Capturing the Essence of Being a Woman. And it helped me heal through my grief. The day that I decided that I was writing for Lessons for Little Girl 2, this is how I knew that it was supposed to get out. I had an off day, which is a rarity in my life. I had an off day, and my mom and I said, Mama wants some tacos. She said, we cooking or we going to get some? I said, we going to get some. So we went to get some, Taco Bell, and ran out. And on the way back from coming to get the food, I decided to share with my mom that I was writing Lessons for Little Girl 2. And so she was like, well, Jamie, just don't talk about it. Just get it done. Just get it done. Don't talk about it. Just get it done. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get it done. You just sit back and enjoy the ride. The moment I said that, a deer came out of nowhere, hit my car.
Wow.
Me and my mother ended
Wow.
up at the bottom of a ravine. If I had been
Wow.
just a few inches to the right, we would have hit a tree. If we had been just a
Wow.
few inches back, my car would have been submerged in water. My car landed
Wow.
almost perfectly right side up in a ravine. The deer was next to my window, kicking my door. I thought his leg was going to go through the door and break my face. And I'm screaming. All I am doing, because the car, I'm trying to brace my mother. I'm trying to keep control of the car because my car is trying to flip.
Mm.
And I'm trying to keep the car from flipping, keep my mother, because mind you, she had a knee surgery scheduled. And they said if she has any scratches on her, they was
Wow.
canceling her knee replacement surgery. So all of this is going through my head. My father had died 2 months prior. So I'm
Wow.
like, all of this is happening. And when they say your life flashes before your eyes, that is true.
Right. Right.
Well, my mom and I ended up coming out of the accident, no scars. My car is a wreck.
Total.
Not totaled, but a wreck.
Okay. Okay.
uh Beat up badly. I thought it was going to be total. The police show up and they say, we consider this, there's going to be no police report found. We consider this an act of God.
Mm.
That's what they call it. And she said it's a good thing that you hit the deer, because if you didn't hit the deer and you just avoided it, then you would be responsible for, like, she just goes down this list of stuff that I could have been literally fined for.
Wow.
So, insurance company ended up getting my car completely fixed. You would have never known I was in a car accident. But it was right after I was talking about this book, bam. And I said, oh, okay, so it's like that, devil. So that's what we're doing. So I knew I had to get Lessons for Little Girl 2. And so after the accident, I came out and I went to work. And, that was a year later. Here she is. Year and a half later, here she is. So,
All right. That's what's up.
yeah.
So, what do you think the takeaway on this book will be?
Accountability.
Okay.
Um, that's the first word. Be who you say you want to be. Um, the statement for the less for little boy is man up, then the statement for this one is woman up. Um,
Okay.
be accountable for who your actions. One of my favorite chapters in this book is called self-correction, and I share a story about how when we were younger and we would see the teacher's red ink on our papers, we would literally have anxiety attacks. And we didn't
Okay.
even know what the red writing said. It could have said good job, but we don't know. We just see the red ink on the paper and we would literally go through like 7,000 emotions. And I talk about how there are necessary times in life where we need external correction, where we need people to kind of check us and get us together. But in most cases, we know when we're wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
why don't we do the self correction first? And so it really challenges us about our behavior and our mindset and the way that we do things. There's another chapter in here that I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine, and it talks about the title of the chapter is called Keepsakes. My grandmother, as I'm sure yours did too, as every African American grandmother did, had some trinkets, whether it was a little
Mm-hmm.
statue, a little, praying hands, a little
Right, right, right.
cross. Grandmother had shelves of these little keepsakes, and she could tell you a story behind every one of them. Well, while I was at lunch with a friend one day, um, he stopped me in the middle of the conversation. He says, Jamie, can I ask you a question? And I said, why? He says, how come every time you say something, you said, well, before my father died and after my father died, everything was time stamped in my life before or after my father's death. He
Mm-hmm.
says, when you keep saying that, you don't allow yourself the chance to heal. You literally keep
Mm-hmm.
reliving his death. And
Mm.
that like blew me because I didn't realize A, that I was even saying it, but B, that I was doing that. And so I talk about what places in our life do we keep dragging ourselves back to? Our divorces, our
Mm-hmm.
businesses that didn't work out, the relationships that didn't last, the financial decisions that went wrong. Like, how often are you going to keep dragging yourself back? Like, I kind of think about once a person gets divorced, how long on any legal document do you have to say divorce? At some point, you just are single.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, are you 30 years later, you still divorced? Like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't matter
Yeah.
anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's funny. On that point right there, people hand you a stack of papers to fill out, and then on that line they ask you, "Are you divorced, married, single?" I'm like, I'm single. I've been single so long, I don't even think the marriages even count. Then they come back and ask you a stupid question. Well, have you ever been married?
yeah.
Yeah, but which
The,
time are you talking about?
yeah. Like, I was divorced up to a certain point, but you're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
identifying me as that.
Right, exactly.
And so
Yeah.
that's what this Lessons for the Little Girl 2 is. It's just about, like, come on, let's get it. Let's be the women that we say we are. Let's be the women who give birth and the women who own companies and be the women who, run households and the women who run their single lives and the women who make dynamic decisions and women who can be in government and women, like, let's be those women. Let's be the artistic queens that we are, that create canvases to our communities. Like, let's be the voices to those that are gone. Like, it's like who run the world, like, that's what this book is.
So you're starting a movement.
Yeah.
You feel like it's going to be a rallying cry or a battle cry, uplifting cry.
Hmm.
Let's get this book and then do something.
Yes, yes,
You
I
know.
have all of my books, Ron, are under the acronym I write. And WRITE is an acronym that stands for willingly risking introspection for transformation and elevation. Like, let's do the internal work so that we can transform our lives, which then means that we can transform and enhance our communities. And for elevation, like, let's be better. Let's not be the same people in 2022 that we were in 2021. Let's not be doing the same thing. Even if what we were doing in 2021 was good, like, let's make it great. Like, why stay here when, like, all of up here is an opportunity? And I think that that's the challenge for my life. Like, I literally, and I desire it to be the challenge for other people, that There are so many people that I've met here in Florida that have never left Florida. Like, I understand that it's a beautiful state and it's a lot to experience within this state, but like, let's go to Georgia. Like, let's go on down
Yeah.
to some of the islands. Like, get out of the box of the
Right.
boundaries of this state so you can meet people that think differently than you, that look differently than you, that experience life in a different way. Not to say that one is better than the other, but you can learn. People ask me all the time, Jamie, what's your favorite food? I say, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. Because I don't know.
Mm.
I went to Ghana, had barracuda, the best piece of fish I've ever eaten in my life. But then I was talking to a girl. She says, oh, if you're actually from the places that serve barracuda, we don't eat it.
Right.
Why? What do you mean? It's delicious. They're like, because it could be poison or toxic or what. I'm like,
Exactly.
I said, they was trying to kill us.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
but it was
Yeah,
the
that's
best
true.
piece of fish I had ever eaten. And
Yeah, yeah. Barracudas, they have worms in them, and most of the fishermen that go out and get them, I've caught barracuda and gave it away. Hey, man, you want it? He couldn't afford a real piece of fish, so he took the barracuda home and gave his whole family diarrhea,
oh my God. I'm glad I didn't get to it. When I tell you that fish was amazing.
Well, the chef knew how to cook it for you. That was a good thing,
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm so excited about this book, and the battle cry that it's putting out. I'm looking forward to getting into it,
And I
and
can smile signing for you.
being transformed,
Yeah,
because everything that we read does have an effect on
it
us.
does.
Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's going to affect us,
Yeah.
whether we can relate to it or not relate to it. And you would think, I grew up when books were relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
books are kind of like a dying art.
Yeah.
Not so many people have book collections or libraries like they used to. So I got a question for you now. With the series of books that you are putting together, and I know the series because I know you ain't through yet. Is there a movie in the mix? A motion picture, a sitcom, or a made-for-television series, or a Netflix series, or something like that?
You know I don't like you, right?
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
But I love
You
you.
don't have to like me, but you better love me.
But I love you.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned it. I'm actually having conversations with a television station now
Okay.
about some things. Here is the, you and I talk about this all the time, Ron, about um, being vulnerable and allowing people to see the various sides of us. A friend of mine told me today, I shared a screenshot of a conversation that I had with somebody. And I said, I can't make this stuff up. This is another day in the life of Jaime. He was like, when is this book coming out? And it was just kind of talking about the life of a single woman and the stuff that I go through sometimes. And I have to figure out what, not to sound funny, but what the people need.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to create anything that I ever do. And if no one takes anything away from this interview, please take away this. I don't think that I have all the answers, but I believe that in our relationship with each other, that people can figure out the answers within their own hearts and own spirits. And so it is for me, that's why it's necessary to have community and connection and conversation. So that way you can figure out what the next steps are in your journey. Um, so some things are in the works. Um, 2023, stay tuned. Not sure what it completely looks like yet, but it is around this embracing the little girl or little boy inside of us by still being very much the grown woman or the grown man, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that we are, because I want to create content for both men and women. Some of my supporters that have been with me since the first book was like, okay, Jamie, I need you to write a book just for everybody. Don't make it a woman's book or a men's book. Just make it an everybody book. So I actually have that book. I'm working on that one now. And so we'll see. We'll see.
Good, good. Now, I fuss at you all the time about getting back on the air. You know, you have a whole YouTube channel that's underutilized, you know, and I'm
Call
like,
me out
okay,
like this, like for
yeah, 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 yeah. Look, since self-reflection, ain't that what you call
my
it? You know,
God.
I'm reflecting yourself.
Wait till we get in the green.
You know, because the name of the site is Mirror what? Come on now,
Mirror
you know,
image. Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So, you know, and I try to encourage you because I know that you have so much to impart into people, and people want what you have to impart. You know, and I try to encourage you. Yeah, books are good, but how they gonna deny when they looking at you, and you just speaking to their heart. You know, and it's important, like you said before, the words that are coming out of your mouth reach far and wide. You know, that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I never know what my words and who they're going to fall on and where they're going to wind up
That's
at
true.
and who is going to be blessed by what I do. And I know it's the same for you. You know, people are waiting, on that inspiration that you bring out. And, I'm just fussing a little bit, not a lot. Come on. Folks out here waiting on you,
Yes, sir.
you know, and it gives people an opportunity to feel like they're part of your life,
And here's the
and
really, really dope thing. I like people being a part of my life. I
hmm
have fallen into the trap of here moment of vulnerability, right? I'm a
hmm
workaholic,
yes,
and I take work very seriously in anything that I do. So if I'm right, know that if I put a book out, I have put a lot into this.
hmm
There has been a lot. There's nothing that I kind of do half. Maybe laundry because I hate doing laundry, but anything else that I have to put my hands
oh,
to, know that I'm giving you all of me. And so I have fallen into the trap of working because I want to make sure that I have the resources to be able to create the platform, to be able to do what it is I know that I'm ultimately called to do. And so I've been working on some stuff. It has not been coming out as fast as Dr. Ron has demanded, because I actually was supposed to have this out back in, what was it, April or May?
even before then,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
earlier. So
Yeah, we
before the
started
end of the
talking
year,
about it because look, you have a cousin that was trying to do the same thing. I believe she was, or
oh, my
and
niece.
then
Thank you for saying that. I call her back.
yeah, and then you all were going to like burst onto the YouTube, network at the same time, and
Yes.
you gonna do her thing, she was gonna do her thing, and you was gonna do your thing, and I'm
Y'all, if
like,
you want to be held
I
accountable, don't tell Dr. Ron, because
and
he's not
look,
going to
look,
do
look, and I'm
whatever.
sitting there eating popcorn, waiting on it, and all I see is old reruns. I'm like, what the hell?
Low key,
you
low
know,
key.
I'm like,
How about
okay,
this?
I'm
When
gonna
I
put
come
the
to
popcorn up
Chicago,
until I really got something to celebrate.
when I come to
Okay,
Chicago, we could shoot the first episode.
okay. Now I know you got your website there,
Hmm.
JamieAGill.com, and they can find information to link you to all your channels, right? Is that they can do that,
Sure,
right?
why not?
Okay, all right. I
That's
just
what the
want to make
website's
sure.
supposed to do. Yeah, so my website is under reconstruction, but it's live, it's active. You can
Okay,
leave comments, you can leave Lessons for Little Girl 2 hasn't been posted up there yet, but if you leave me a message, I can make it available. But it's literally available anywhere books are sold. All of my books are Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, um what's the other one? Amazon,
mm-hmm.
Walmart.com.
Okay,
It used to be on Target. I don't know what's going on with Target's website right now. For people who want to know where can they physically pick up the book up, you let me know somewhere in your city that there is a bookstore. Bookstores are like radio stations used to be back in the day. In order to get
mm-hmm.
a record on, you have to request it.
Right.
So, you all may think that I am amazing, which I appreciate, but the bookstore is kind of like, who is this? Why should we put her book in here? And so,
Right. Right.
until people begin to come in and ask
Ask
for the
for it.
book,
Right.
that's the only reason that they're going to put, because they don't want to, that space shelf is real estate. And they want
Right.
to make sure that it's going to be a book that's going to move off the shelves. And so you and I may know they're going to move, but they don't know. And
All right.
so,
Well, look, I'm just gonna put my little 2 cents right here. I look, Amazon delivered directly to my door, and I ain't have to go no further than just on the internet, and then bam, it came. So
yeah,
you may have a bookstore that you like, and they may not have it, but Amazon always got it
always has.
available.
Well, that's not true because actually,
Uh oh.
lessons for the little boy actually ran out recently, and somebody was
Okay.
like, so sometimes they go out of stock, but it's coming. They'll get more. So
That's a good thing. They ran out.
yes, that's a good problem. And for any
Yeah.
of you that have read any of my books, I would love, love, love to hear back from you. So leave an Amazon review. I do. I actually, a lady left a really great review for Lessons for Little Boy. That actually had a critique that I appreciated. I recognize she called me out on something that I didn't even recognize that I do. Oftentimes, I give disclaimers to things that I don't have to give disclaimers about. She made the statement that the book that I kind of did a setup for the book that was unnecessary. She said readers just want to get into it. And when she said that, I literally want to send her a thank you gift because that was what I needed to hear. Because sometimes, even in all of our grownness, and knowing that we're doing what we're supposed to do, we still kind of walk timidly a little bit. And Lessons for
Mm-hmm.
Little Boy, I wanted to be very careful that no one, absolutely no one, thought that I was a woman trying to tell a man how to be a man. And so there was literally like this whole there was a prelude of, hey, just so y'all know why I'm here. And it wasn't necessary. And so,
Mm-hmm.
not that I necessarily regret it, but she kind of reminded me that just do what you're supposed to do on earth. And if people receive it, they receive it. And if they don't, they don't, you
All
know.
right now.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, it's just about time to get out of here. We've killed the whole hour, which is not hard to do when you're having fun.
That's right.
I always have a couple of questions before I let people go. The first question is, will you come back and see me again?
Every day, anytime.
All right. Got it on tape. The second question that I always like to ask is, what would you like to leave with the people before you leave today? Uh-oh, that must have been because there's so many things I know. You're trying to pick exactly what it is.
Today, I would say know the value in your story. Trust your knower, your discernment, that whispering in your spirit, that gut, like trust it. I know it may be scary. I know you may not know what the results are going to be, but when you trust your instincts, when you trust the spirit, you will always come out on top. Always, whether that's on top emotionally, whether that's financially, whether that's relationally, like just always trust your knower. It will never, ever, 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 ever lead you astray. So
Very powerful words. Miss Jamie A. Gill, I want to thank you
thank you,
for
Dr.
making
Ron.
time to come on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We always have fun every time you come out.
We do.
And, I think you put a lot of gold nuggets out there today that will bless people. They'll be able to take that to the next level and, go out and buy the book so they can get more gold nuggets out of it. So I'm glad we had an opportunity to break down the books the way that we did on today. So I think it's going to benefit in the long run some people. Got me interested in the book for the brothers. I'm like, I don't need no book for no brothers. I'm a brother already. But then I think I'm gonna have to look at their story and see what's going on with them.
You can
You
learn
know,
something.
yeah, I'm curious now. I'm very curious. So thank you once again. I appreciate it. You stay right there. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, sir.
I want to encourage people to come out and visit with me each and every Thursday, right here on Facebook and YouTube Live at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Street News Now. We have a show called Six Guys and You, where we have six hosts that are bringing, very interesting conversation. You talking about some brothers chopping it up? Some brothers be chopping it up. We be throwing down. So come check us out every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Street News Now. Also, you can find me each and every Saturday from the desk of Dr. Ron at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on YouTube as well, where I just, give you a little piece of my mind, sometimes. That could be confusing and scary, but come check it out anyway. And I just want to invite you all to go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. Please support all of my advertiser. We vetted them out. We know they're not going to rip you off. Just check them out. Click on any of the banners. Click on any of the flyers. Go directly to their website. Make an appointment to talk to them. I want to thank every person that have made contributions up to this point in time. I thank you guys. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. I need your support. And also, while you're here, please subscribe, like, and share. Please subscribe, like, and share. I need you to tell somebody where they can find me, and they can keep on coming back and checking me out what we got going on. So that's it for today. I love you guys. Thank you once again. Shout out to my guest, Miss Jaime Gill. And we look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. Peace and love.